Good morning. It is Friday, July 21st, and I will explain the special milestone in a minute. So, good morning. I hope all is well in your world. I hope you've been getting some good rates, or at least not fighting for the bad ones. That's when you know you're in a down market, when you have to punch some people out to even get $1 a mile. But hey, it's okay, man. We're going to get through it. So there's some good rates out there. Trust me, I know. I've been getting some. So, good morning. I hope all is well. It's you guys probably have noticed on the small channel I haven't done any of my walking lives. It's been raining off and on, or I got things going on. Those of you who didn't catch Jeffrey Lake's live feed last night, his house and vehicles got a lot of major damage because of tennis ball size hailstones. So, so give him some good thoughts if you don't mind. But Jeff was handling it like a champ, and was sitting there at the house doing a live feed last night. So thoughts go out to him. And anybody else that might have been, I imagine there's probably a few of you truck drivers that were driving through Michigan at that point when that hill came down. I mean, anything that smashes your windshield is not a good day, right? So very dangerous, very dangerous. You don't want to go out there, and you want to go outside in that. A lot of bad weather going on. I think we're going to get some storms here in Springfield about 11 o'clock. I was looking at the radar, but I don't think they're going to be that bad. I know Tulsa's getting nailed right now. But anyways, yeah, so not much on the dispatch front this week. I've been doing more behind the scenes as far as broker relations and talking to customers, trying to get this brokerage thing going now. So there's been a few things that have fallen into my lap that I'm trying to take advantage of and see if we can get that going. And good rates too, but you got to work for it. That's the thing, man. That's the thing. So let's go to the comments here. Make sure you guys, I hope you're having your coffee. Oh yeah, that's something else I'll mention. So Sterling did a live, or not a live, he did a unboxing short. So those of you who don't know, Saturday night my live feed was pretty good. And Sterling, donated some cash to the channel. So in an effort to show my appreciation, I had him a hat sent from the merch store. Now, the turnaround time on these hats has been really good. I think I ordered that Saturday night, and it was Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday that he got it. So that's pretty good. Unlike a friend of mine that bought one of our shirts, and I don't think he ever got it. So where he ended up getting it was a long sleeve, but he ended up getting it in the summer, and he ordered it back in January. So there's a lot more lead time on the different products. So I ordered the hat, the beer glass, the travel coffee mug, all at the same, in a sticker, all at the same time. The hat came first. The coffee mug, or I also ordered the other coffee mug I've got. The coffee mug came pretty quickly. And then the travel mug, and then the glass, and then the sticker. And I'm not impressed. I mean, the sticker is good quality, but for the price, I think I could do better locally and just mail it out if you want to get a sticker, right? So, but anyways, it's not. Look, there's a little bit of profit in these products, but I mean, not much, not enough to pay my bills or whatever. But it's enough that I can support somebody else's channel by buying their merch, with it or whatever. And we're drinking our Death Wish coffee, which I'm not sponsored by them. So, anyways, that's it. So Sterling did this unboxing, and apparently he threw some extra things in the box, and it was hilarious. It was funny, and I'm probably on some ATF watch list now. So thanks for that, Sterling. So so anyways, go check out Sterling's channel. Let me take these glasses off. Get that off there. So all right, let's go over the chat, and we're going to go. Remember, there's a milestone I want to announce, and I want to announce it correctly. I don't think the person that I'm going to talk about is even in this chat. So, anyways, Southbound Pachyderm, what's up? How are you? Nice avatar. That would make you should start a merch store. That would make a good merch. That elephant rules. Desiroki Pam, morning Snorelord, what's up? I hope all is well. I mean, I was thinking about, I've been dealing with some stuff out of Phoenix, and I was thinking about there was a video I saw online where this truck driver was wearing flip flops, and they literally melted to the pavement, and it broke the so he's trying to walk across the parking lot that's so hot that it's melting flip flops, and it was like quite the ordeal. I remember Pale Rider and I and Ponzi, the three of us met up in I was parked over at the TA there in Rockwall, Texas. And it was July. I mean, it was right after I bought my first truck. And told Pale Rider I was going to be there, and so he met up with me. By some miracle, there was parking there. It was a Saturday. I was doing a 34 there. And Ponzi met up with us. He lives right there in Rockwall at that time. And he was another Landstar. He started at Landstar about a month before I did. And the three of us hung out, and it was so hot that, we were making jokes that Pale Rider's boots were going to melt to the pavement. I was the only one wearing shorts, though. That was the funny part. So, anyways, that meeting is somewhere on the YouTubes. So check out Pale Rider's channel. Don Shonger, hello. It's called The Retired Trucker. That's his channel name now. CDN, Yabba Dabba Doo. It's Friday. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, CDN. I thought we were going to have a conversation this week. You are a very busy person, I was busy yesterday. I was watching rate cons and the TMS system for Jeff as he dealt with some stuff. And then he texted me about his house and cars being destroyed. So there's that. But let's see. Got a notification here. Yeah, nothing important. All right. Sorry about that. Distractions galore. I had an interesting conversation. I had an interesting situation happen to me this morning when it comes to distractions. I'll talk about it. Urban Network Trucking Podcast. Hold sign will work for better dry van rates. Well, they're out there. Good morning from Washington. Now, she doesn't mean Washington, D.C. She means Washington State. She got a good banger of a load, and it was not on a low board. And it's with the broker that approached her. And it's a broker that we have a great relationship with. So good on Shannon. And she's going to be making some good money. You going to get all those stops off today, Shannon? If you need some help, you have my number. Waiting for a door at Costco in Garland, Texas. Nice. I haven't been to that one. Oh, wait, maybe I have. Is that the one? No, I'm thinking of Dallas. The only Costco's I've been to is in my own truck was Dallas, and the one in Illinois. Morris, Illinois. I don't think I've been to any other one. So, intrastate runs 1,200 a day, Sunday through Friday. I don't need help, so stay out so I can still tax my rates, please. Well, don't announce your rates there. Good deal, man. Good deal. Florida beer is good to me. There you go. Morning from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Michael Lacoste, sorry. Lacoste. Lacoste? Is that how you say that? I apologize for butchering the name on Facebook there. Jose, good morning. Buck Brown, Urban Network. I prefer Georgia beer. I believe they made a movie about moving beer there in the South. It's got this big truck with, the Trans Am or something. Now you just need the right beer permit. All right. So get some more people in here and then we'll announce the milestone. Been having some good conversations with some really great people. And something I want to mention. Get my notebook here. Here's some advice. Right? I know you didn't ask for it. I know it's unsolicited. I know I'm on your smartphone yelling at you, right? Or if you're at home, you probably got me on the big screen TV, which in that case I apologize because you can see every detail of my beautiful features. People start hanging around other people that are going to help you be better. In other words, they don't have to be rich and successful. They just want to help you be better. Right? Sometimes that looks like tough love. Man, I need a new chair. This chair is yeah. I still need to lose some weight. So be around people that want to see you do better. They want to help you be better. And there's nothing in it for them other than the great feeling of just helping someone. That's the kind of people you want to surround yourself with. Not the people that tear other people down, not the people that tear each other down, not the people that will try to tear you down. And trust me, they're out there. Because the lone wolf mentality does not work. Now, it might feel good for a minute. It might feel like, it might feel empowering for a minute. But the lone wolf mentality doesn't, the only thing you end up doing is dying alone with your thoughts. It does not work. And also the important part is to recognize when people are trying to help you, because you don't want to waste their resources. CDN is always trying to help me, and I feel like I don't give him enough time. He's a very busy person. He's a very focused individual. He's pretty intense. It would take 10 of me to keep up with one of him. Shannon is a perfect example. When she was over at Dart was taking advantage of the situation. And it almost ruined her. Now she's doing well. She's driving a brand new truck with a good warranty. It's a solid truck so far. Knock on wood. And because of her attitude, because of her outlook, she gets the calls from the broker saying, hey, how about a load? Instead of, hey, I need this load. There she is, wife Lord. Good morning. I'm late. Good. I'm glad you're here. So, anyways, because I'm getting ready to make an announcement, and you're a part of this. So, Wife Lord is a part of this. And you want to surround yourself with people that will keep you grounded. So when you do become successful, when you do become at a different level, when you're at this point of, I don't know, personal success, that ego starts to kick in and could literally tear everything down. That's where you need to be grounded. You know, as a musician, I saw this all the time. And you know, and life has a funny way, you know, you can call it karma, you can call it God, you can call it whatever you want, but life has a funny way of saying, "Hey, chill, dude," and knock you on your feet, off your feet. So you have to refigure it out. I've talked to guys that are millionaires that have lost their fortunes and then regained them back because they had the right mindset. They were humbled. They learned from their mistakes. And that's part of being an entrepreneur. That's part of being an owner operator. That's the big part, right? I'm half expecting a text, so that's why I'm paying attention to notifications. But anyways, here's my major announcement. We got 40 people in here, so I think it's time. Let me put this picture up. Now, today's Friday the 21st, so Sunday is the 23rd. And I want to make an announcement. Here we go. My wife and I have been married for 23 years. Right? It's 2023, right? And so I want to wish her a happy anniversary. Now, I will see her on Sunday as well, right? So this is a thing that a friend of mine, his mother, made for us. It did have glass, but it broke. But yeah, the path that leads to happiness is so narrow that the two cannot walk on it unless they become one. Isn't that sweet? Isn't that sweet? So yes, it's my wife and I's 23rd anniversary. On Sunday. So anyways, now, why is that a lesson? You know, why am I bringing that up? It's not just about, hey, look at me, man. I've been married for. No, I'm not doing that. Okay. The big part of that is that 23 years, a lot has happened with us and between us. We've had ultimate highs and we've had ultimate lows. And each moment made us stronger. That's kind of what life is. Owning a truck, you know, I was talking to one of our new drivers yesterday who doesn't watch me on YouTube, had no idea about my history. So I explained it to him. All he knew is I was at Schneider at one time. Now, I've done the video about Landstar, about how I failed, you know, or how I learned at Landstar. That's the other thing is instead of why is this happening to me, the question should be, what can I learn from this incident? What can I learn from this situation? That's how you learn. One time my daughter was making this really cool meal. It didn't turn out quite the way she wanted it. And so she broke down a little bit. I said, "Hey, this is how we learn. This is how we become stronger." And she's an excellent cook, by the way. She would rather cook her own meal than buy some stuff out of a box in the store. She gets that from my wife. So in the 8 years I've been an owner operator, I have had my ultimate lows and my ultimate highs. And I think that part of the struggle that a lot of owner operators are having right now is that they had their ultimate highs a year and a half ago with the rates that we were getting. So much so that people were so on such an ultimate high, they went out and bought overpriced equipment. And now their worlds are crashing down. But you know what? That's an opportunity to learn. If you're one breakdown away from losing your entire trucking business, this is an opportunity to learn. Every time you fall, every time you stumble, every time you burn yourself. I've got a few scars from my welding and baking days. I worked in a kitchen for a while. they were opportunities of learning. I'm sorry, they were episodes of learning. Remember when if you're my age, you could probably judge by the beard how old I am. Remember the after school specials, remember when TV used to be more educational? Not, a bunch of TikToks yelling at you. In two elements is hang around people that want to help you be better and hanging out with people that will keep you grounded. And you see this a lot on YouTube. You know, well, I mean, think about this. I had a friend that was an alcoholic. And while he was trying to kick the habit, he goes, Steve, I want to hang out with you. You help me be better. You help me be more accountable. Accountability is huge. Nobody's accountable anymore. And what do they say in AA? They give you a mirror and said, you're looking at the person most responsible for your happiness. You're looking at the person that made you fail. And it's a mirror, right? And a lot of people can't handle that. A lot of people can't handle that honesty to themselves. And the thing with like an alcoholic or a drug addict is there will be a certain amount of people that will try to help, and then eventually they'll give up because the person just doesn't change. And so if you find yourself in a situation where people are constantly trying to help you be a better person to get you away from a negative aspect of your life, don't take that lightly. Don't shrug that off. Don't push them away. Because one day they're not going to be there. And then who's going to help you be better if you can't do that for yourself? Now you can have 100 people tell you, hey man, you need to quit this, you need to quit that. They're trying to humble you, they're trying to ground you. Hey, you're being an ass, calm down. But unless you have that aha moment within yourself, you can have 1,000 people telling you what you need to hear. But if you ignore the message, you ignore the message. And so it has to come from within. One of the at a low point in a marriage, couples usually seek counseling. And if both parties don't go in ready to hear what's wrong, then the counseling doesn't work. If you call me up and say, hey, Steve, my business is struggling, and I ask you questions and you can't answer them, now we've got a place of where to begin. And a lot of times people don't want to hear the truth. Now, I'm not the kind of person that says, dude, you need to quit. You're done. But I have had to say that like twice in the people that call me. So just like 23 years of marriage takes commitment, takes persistence, it takes the ability, the emotional strength, the mental resilience to withstand anything that comes at you, such as the case of life, such as the case of 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 running a marriage, running a business, running your house. Persistence. Thomas Wilson says, wait till you hit 43 years of hero of marriage. Well, that's our goal. My wife's parents have been married for how long? How long have the parents been married? Their wife, Lord. Thank you, Don. CB, well done. Thank you. Grafton gives me a clapping. Hard work to make a marriage last. It is. Congrats on your 23 years of marriage. Congratulations. I hope that's counted in dog years. You married up. I definitely did. I would be nothing, right? Congratulations takes both of you to make it 23 years. That there is that to be proud about. Jose, thank you. Congratulations, Buck Brown. Thank you. Fun fact, tomorrow my oldest turns 30, coincidentally the same day her dad turns 51. Nice. Happy birthday. I hope they're not counting them in dog years. Randy, what's up? So I was in the hospital on my 21st birthday, but it wasn't from celebrating becoming legal to drink. There you go. What the truth hero? I have no idea what that means. My holster should be in Mr. Wilson, by the way. So Jason says, happy anniversary. Thank you. So now I'm going to get off my high horse. Look, I screw up every single day. I make a lot of mistakes. I deal with some anxiety. I deal with procrastination. I feel like that I'm always trying to be a better man. I'm always trying to be a better business person. You know, I've been in this weird transition period between the truck and the dispatch and hopefully soon the brokerage. And I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying helping people. I swear the cat comes in, drinks 3 swallows of water, and then leaves. It's supposed to be nice today. It's supposed to be in the 80s. But it's supposed to be in the hundreds, I think, next week. So it's going to be interesting. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Cool. But I make mistakes every single day. I am definitely nowhere near where I want to be. And I'll give you a perfect example. So I've always talked about how toxic TikToks are. Say that 5 times fast. But YouTube Shorts is just the same thing, pretty much. And so I had my coffee. So I have this routine. I'm going to start reading, right? And so what I do is I go to the coffee machine and start the coffee. We brew it old school. It's a $10 machine. I'm not a Keurig guy. I'm not a, I don't get all fancy. It's just and what's funny is there was an article about if you brew your coffee, you're emitting more carbon emissions, like like my coffee brewing is ruining the environment, right? Global, right? Um, and I sit down and I look at some YouTube stuff, maybe some other social media, Facebook, Instagram, just kind of see what's going on. And then when I know the coffee's done, I sit down with the coffee and I go over this process with a book. And so I poured my coffee, sat down, and I think I went to plug in my phone. That's all I wanted to do. And about 15 minutes later, I realized that I'd started my book. I'd only opened it. That's it. I never read anything. Next thing you know, 15 minutes later, my coffee's cold, and I don't remember how I even got there. It was then that it dawned on me. I had this little tiny blackout of what did I do for the last 15 minutes that made my coffee cold and not let me enjoy my book. Mr. Wilson says you can't help dumbasses, Steve. 99% of truckers are dumb, including me. Oh, come on now. For what it's worth, regret is a trillion times harder to overcome than snorting drugs, scotch, and cigarettes. I'll take your word on that. I've had a few moments with alcohol, but I never got into anything else. What's up? What's up, Bill? Cool trucking. And it dawned on me as like, wow, I might have to fast from this stuff for a minute. Because the book I'm reading is pretty empowering, right? So over 50 years from my folks. Sorry I'm behind still. Happy anniversary, love. There you go. 50 years. We went to one of their anniversary parties, and they got to drive a 69 Camaro. Somebody just kind of brought and let them drive around like they did back when they were first married. So it was a cool celebration. You know, people just see the celebration. People just see the numbers. And, you know, and that's kind of what YouTube does. You know, hey, look at my successes. Look how awesome I am. And you don't see the hard work. You don't see the, now, you know, and there's some people trying to change that. You know, they do these, you know, workout progress videos, before and after pictures. You know, I see that a lot in the carnivore keto groups. And I've done that. You know, I've shown my progress. But what you don't see, yeah, you see 1 minute of someone progressing in their workouts, right? But you don't see the hard work behind the scenes. You don't see the sacrifice of changing their diet. You don't see the mental uh, struggles to deal with this addictive food that we have, and the social aspects of trying to do what everybody else isn't doing. Right? That's where the lone wolf mentality can help. If you want to not fall into the same traps that other people are in, then yeah, that's where the lone wolf comes up. But you still need to surround yourself with good people. People that want to see you better. People want to build you up. You know, and you could be in money has nothing to do with it, right? I've had poor people try to lift me up, and I've had rich people try to lift me up. And I'm grateful for every single person that does. And, you know, I was telling the kids how much I made on the live feed on Saturday night. And they're like, wow. But I was quick to tell them, hey, it's taken me 14 years of doing YouTube, 14, 15 years of doing YouTube to even get close to that. There are people that do that every night. And I did it once on a Friday or a Saturday, I'm sorry. And also, I try to help people behind the scenes. I call people with concern. Hey, man, are you okay? And I generally am worried about your well-being. But I've also got a point that if I feel like I'm banging my head against a brick wall, then at some point when I know that you're never going to have that aha moment, I'm here. I'm in the background. I'll still support, but when you're ready, you'll reach out. When you're not ready, then I'm not going to push it because I got my own things that I have to build. That's kind of how I look at it. So, anyways, that's my high horse for a minute. That's my soapbox for a minute. So I hope you guys endured that. So let's go over the low board stuff. It's Friday. You probably should be looking for your Monday or Tuesday load. And hopefully you're not trying to book at the last minute because a lot of markets are not last minute markets right now. So let's see, share screen. Let's go to the 1, 2, 3 load board. Let's do this here. Let's do a load availability. This is for all the trailers in the entire United States of America. Happy anniversary. Me and Diane just had our 41st. Nice. Awesome. Good deal. You guys were cool when I hung out with you. I was glad I was able to meet you guys in person before you guys retired. In recovery, it was said that I need to change one thing. Everything. Alfalfa, that's very true. Wife Lord, I forget what year we threw their 50-year party. They're probably at least 55 years now. Yes. So, what's up, everyone? Says Mark. All right. So this is all. Let's look at Van. Now, one of the skill sets that you want to develop if you're new to this whole book your own loads and look at a load board kind of a deal is you want to take note of how you look at a load board. And it's going to take time, it's going to take experience, and it's going to take talking to the right people that kind of know what they're doing. You want to surround yourself with people that know how to manage in any kind of market, whether it's good, bad, or mediocre. Don't want my coffee to get cold here. Oh, by the way, there will not be a live feed Saturday night because I will be hanging out with my wife for the anniversary. I need to get her something. I don't even have a card yet. So need to figure that out pretty quickly, right? All right. So let's take a look at Arizona. When I see a green state, that's not normal. I want to figure out why. And if you set this now, these are posted rates on a lot of these. If you see the green number, that's a posted rate. If you don't see a green number, the rate's not posted. But they do have the averages on there. So as you can see, we're all over the place because I've sorted this by the age of the posting. So evidently, a lot of things are being booked ahead. Nothing for today. Well, there's one, right? There's one. Everything else is for next week. So Arizona is definitely not a book day of market. Now, let's do it by pickup date to see exactly how many loads are coming out right now. There's a few. I could be wrong, right? Where are they all going? California, Washington, Colorado. Here's one to Virginia. Couple of Virginia. Here's one to Greenfield, Missouri. That's come hang out with me. Because, why not? Edwardsville, Illinois, that'd be a good one because it goes to St. Louis, which is a good market. You go spend some time in the heat there in Lancaster, Texas. So, all right. So now let's sort this by rate. Oh, here we go. Glendale to Lakewood, Washington, 5,100. So there's a story here. It picks up today. There we go. 9 stops. So 10 stops. So what you would want to do is you'd want to call and see where these stops are at, what the actual mileage is, and what the scenario is. It's 15,000 pounds, so it's nothing too dramatic. But 5,100, if you can get that done in 5 days, that's good money. That's when you look at the rate per day, as long as you're not having to do 4,000 miles, right? So there you go. A quick phone call or an email will tell you what the story is. But everything else is around just short of $2 a mile, this is actually good rates coming out of Arizona, to be honest with you. Let's look at this Tucson to Monrovia, Maryland. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is Tucson is a great cross-dock place for stuff coming out of Mexico. Picks up today at 9 a.m. and delivers the 27th. So 2,200 miles. iFloor 3 Ultra, whatever that means. 6,200 pounds. A little low on what the cargo chief says, but how desperate are they to move it on this Friday? And then it puts you, then you got to consider the rate coming out, but they're already above the rate check there, so take it as you will. Yeah, but then you see this $1.26 going out to. Let's take a look at this one. It's got 2 stops, and they're at 35 for 2,700 miles. And they want you to pick this up Monday and don't deliver it till the next Monday. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know how many operations survive on just 3,500 a week running long miles and an extra stop. So you might have to have a conversation, because Green Screens has got this at 79.45 and Cargo Chief's got it at 54. So the reality is somewhere in between there. So you're just going to have to explain to them, hey man, this is what it's going to take for me to move this load. And if they want a cheaper truck, then let them have the cheaper truck. Now, if your goal is to get to exactly Smithfield, Rhode Island, and this is the only option, then what do you do? Well, that's completely up to you. See, here's the thing. The numbers are used to manipulate, right? And I did a video about leverage. I did a live feed talking about it, and then I cut up that live feed. It was just released this week about leverage. You have a right to remain silent, Snorelord. Stop incriminating yourself in the presence of the wife lord. Bad news, you're in Washington. Loads are silly out here in Washington. Yeah, they are. I'll help you out, Shannon. We'll figure it out. Steve, if you want, I could pop on live to go over what I was going to talk to you about, or I can call you later. Yeah, let's get you in here. It's Friday. Got nothing else going on. So let me remove the screen so we don't reveal too much. I'll send you an email, my friend. There you go. I just sent you an email to CDN. CDN. Randy says, congrats. What we need to do is get Shannon a load to Missouri so she can check out this cave that you can drive through. And she can meet the wife. So let's go back to low board while we wait on CDN. All right. So this is stuff out of Arizona. So, you got to, oh, look, a couple loads just disappeared. 48065, by the way, for the 123 low board. You get 30 days free and $10 off on the premium services. If your heart so desires. These are great tools. They're good additional tools to and have more than one tool to look for loads. Don't rely on one process, one deal. Can you cover Washington? Can I cover it? Oh yeah, we can do that real quick. I think that's what I promised you. All right, we're gonna bring CDN, and then if there's time, we'll go over the Northwest there. CDN, what's up, my friend? Oh, no audio. Turn on the microphone there, my friend. Nothing.
There we go.
There you are. Now you're blasting my ears out.
Sorry
What's
about
up,
that.
man? Oh, it's all right.
First foremost is congratulations.
Thank you.
I think actually the biggest thing coming forth is we're both similar is the toughest years are actually the couple of years ahead, because when your kids get older, they don't need us as much.
Yeah.
Right? When your kids are younger, even when they're 14, 15, you still got to drive them around, deal with school stuff. You're doing this, you're doing that. You're always busy with kids. And when they hit 18, they still need you a little bit, but not near as much. So now you have to be with your wife. You can't hide behind the kids, and your wife can't, you know what I mean? Like my wife and I are in that exact same stage, because I think we hit 26 years this year, and we're in that stage. Wow. My youngest turned 18 this week. So we're now officially have adults, all adults, no kids per se.
Yeah, that's how old my youngest is 18. So yeah, she starts college next year or this fall. But yeah.
Well, if my son has it right, we'll see. He's gonna, if all goes right, we got a couple months to see if this all comes together. But he's hoping to take a big trip. And when details get together, I'll share more. But he's hoping to do a international trip. So
nice.
We'll see how that shakes out. So he can hopefully use that time to figure out what he wants to do. He has some ideas, but I think it's a great idea, because when you get once life gets going, it's hard to leave for months on end. So you're better to do it while you're young and able to.
Yep.
Because on the flip side, last night, we'll get to what I was going to talk to you about, but this is just another life story that brings up. So I have a cousin that's mid-50s, had a brain aneurysm 3 years ago.
Oh wow.
And so you think, okay, well, a lot of people recover from that. Well, he ended up having this aneurysm, and then it led to other problems. And guess what? Leapfrog, you add the time of the the pandemic in there, which caused a lot of complications. Right? It's been 3 years he's been in the hospital.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's just led from multiple things, one thing to another, infections, and just it's been numerous. So it was his birthday yesterday. So this cousin, his brother and sister have been, because his parents are it's my mom's sister, but his parents are no longer alive. But his brother and sister have been, I mean, by his side daily. It's
Oh,
been
good.
the support that they've given him. So what they did yesterday was, um, our igloos are down in Canada. It was nice and warm and super warm. But they did a little surprise birthday outside of the hospital at kind of a courtyard. So about 45 people, family members, friends, showed up yesterday. Many of them I have not seen for years. And so it was very interesting to see and see some of these folks that I haven't seen for years. But what I was going to bring up was I have an uncle that he's probably 84 and phenomenal. His vision, his height, his hearing is excellent. He can walk really good. He can sit in a chair. He can stand up out of a chair without problems. And there's other people that are the same age that are not as nimble. And then I started thinking, it's very, very weird story. A lifelong friend. His dad is about the same. And what's interesting, I think they both worked at the same place in our town. And guess where they worked? A meat packing plant. And they both, so here they're both 84. So how does being 84 and working at a meat packing plant have anything to do with longevity? Well, here's 3 common facts about these two individuals, whether or not that they are, it has anything to do with anything, but it's just interesting. So both of them both worked at a meat packing plant at a young age. And because they worked there so long, they both retired at a young age. Like they've been retired since they were 55. They both rototill their garden up until now, the age of 84. And they also don't have a lot of stress. That's it. They plant gardens and they don't have they rototill a garden, and they both worked at meatpacking plant for 25 plus years, 30 years, and they still retired at the age at 55 or 50. So, because I ran into one of my I just make it simple, but a second cousin. And where she's working, she's like, we were talking about reminiscing about past and so forth last night. And then she was, yeah, I'm probably going to retire in a couple of years. I'm 55 now. And if you looked at her, you would say, yeah, she's probably in her 40s. I'm like, what? You're 55? Oh my goodness. And she's about to retire in 2 to 3 years. So how many of us can say that? So my wife and I got into this conversation about how when you get into a certain industry and you stay there for long enough, well, you can retire at a young age. Because I got, this one family, yeah, like it's just amazing how when so it's, the point is, if you're 50 and above, this is the time. You got to make your plans. It's like imagine, like like here we're celebrating your marriage of 23 years, which is phenomenal. But we also know, unfortunately, the flip side, there's a lot of couples after 15, 18 years that are getting divorced nowadays, right? Divorce rates are huge. But when you think about it, it's sad to have a divorce and so forth. But if it's not working out, it's better to, I guess, not live in misery, right? And be happy.
Right.
But we have a friend was divorced a few years ago, and we're thinking about it. But imagine if you're 50 something and you meet someone today, you could still be with that person for another 30 years. Right. So it's pretty cool to think about if you're living, if you have a good life. So the point is, as long as you're happy, and I think stress is by far the number one factor in life as far as our longevity can go. Right. If we're not living, if our stress levels are mitigated, I think that can be a super helpful thing in our life. Right. As far as that goes. So.
Well, I'll add to that. So it's the ability to handle stress. That's the number one thing, because I followed this one chick that was doing carnivore, And she explained that, she had this special needs son and she has all these stresses in her life. But what she found is when she changed her diet, she was able to handle those stresses a lot better. And so, there are people that something goes awry in their day and it completely imbalances them and they shut down. And then there are people who are like, oh, well, let's bring it on, man. And I think that the ability to handle stress is a big skill. Is probably one of the most important skills that you can develop. I'm sure that you have a lot of. I imagine that your typical day is probably would stress a lot of people out where they wouldn't be able to handle it. I would imagine that.
To a degree. I think it's, my days are sometimes in the morning it's like intense right from the start. And it's also some days it's a slow build throughout the day, right? It's a slow build. And as the day goes on, it gets, but I've been finding, like I think I've told you, I have a helper. I have a freight auditor that I hire for 20 hours a week. And it's taken a lot of my time and effort. But all of a sudden this week, for the first time, as I mentioned, my son turned 18, and it was just, so the other night we couldn't have like a little family, just cake with our family that lives in our town, because we have some family that lives out of town, but with some immediate family right in our local small town. So we had him over the other night, and I thought, geez, my lawn is looking a little ragged. So I actually stopped work for the first time at 5:15, 5:20, and cut the grass before they came. And last night, I mentioned that we had this surprise birthday, and we had to be there by 6, and we had to leave at 4:45 to get to where we were going, because it's traffic. It's an hour, pretty much an hour drive time you get there and park. And I left. So I've been really hampered, but I've also been working a lot of hours. So, but the point is I think a lot of it comes down to you really got to manage your business. Like sometimes, that's what it comes down to, is you can have all the tools and the technologies, but you got to leverage those. Like, you've experienced TMSs and adding loads. Like, so when you got 10, 12 loads, you got to get in there and get the work done. You got to, move it through its stages. You got to add the details necessary, and you got to get it to completed. And you got to it's a wash, rinse, repeat process, but you got to do it, right? You got to do it. And so, so whatever reason this week, somehow I'm still not caught up to where I want to be, but as far as my mindset, as far as things going now, it's been a little odd week. Like, I still got a lot of business on the go, and again, very limited need to use a load board. I got lots of unique things. Like after this call here, I got a project I'm working on that's going to kick into high gear for next week. So I got to start. I've been working on it, and I got to button down some, the details. There's a lot of loads for it next week. So, but yeah. And again, I live in a small area where there's a little bit of, I know you mentioned it, but when you go to big cities, I've been to like San Diego a few years ago, and I seen the proper term now, the unhomed there was pretty bad. But I seen our city, a city I grew up in. I just can't believe it. It's really unfortunate to see that, it's 5:30, the amount of people not just hanging on the street, but passed out, literally passed out. And our police department physically came out and said, our city is not safe.
Wow. Yeah.
That's, that they can't keep up. So watch your back.
Wow.
Essentially, like they're not saying retaliate or anything like that, but there's just been, in the old days, it used to be that when I was growing up and you saw someone on the street that might ask you for change or something, and if you didn't give them change, they didn't bug you more.
Right.
But about a month ago, I went and visited a friend, and coming out of this establishment, there was a fellow asking for stuff, and someone that, as I came out, he was like yelling at the guy, like, "Come on, man! I'm just trying to survive out here," and all this stuff. And I'm like, so it's really unfortunate, because in Canada, we have a lot of social systems in place, from welfare. AISH is for so it's just, I guess for me, I'm just naive to it. I guess I'm sheltered from it, but yeah, it's I don't know. I had something I was going to tie into that, but I've lost my train of thought to that. And that was separate from it. But yeah,
that happens to me all the time. So
I was saying something, and then I've kind of maybe it'll come back around to what I was going to say. But anyways, so back to what I was going to talk about. So what I want to bring to Steve the other day, I mentioned to him, is we get a weekly back onto the freight broker world, as we DV'd off for a moment there. So back into the freight brokerage and logistics world. Many of you know that to sign up with brokerages, where you guys ultimately sign up through programs like RMIS or other similar kind of an automated system where you punch in your MC number and you go through the rigmarole and entering the details.
Right.
And for brokerages that are new with the RMIS system, sometimes the very first time they've gotten it through, it's like if you're a carrier and the very first time that you enter RMIS, it may not be as efficient, but you do it the second time, it's really efficient because you punch in your MC number and all your details pop up. You just go next, accept, next, maybe a couple more details, done, and you got a registration number.
Yep, I love that. That RMIS and mycarrierpacket.com.
Right. So I've talked to you guys a little bit about a few weeks back. I've mentioned to you, and we brought it up on screen, a new company called GoHighway.com.
Mm-hmm.
So our company is actually in the Verge. We got an email this week. Not an email, but we get a message from our president each week on updates on industry things and so forth. And the thing they brought up this week is they said they're so baffled on the number of fraudulent, carriers out there. And I will that was something I've been thinking about, and I'm going to tie that back as a message to you. Oh, that's what it was. Sorry, I'm going to bring this up as I remember. Back to what we're talking about. Someone that the people in society that are not thanked enough or not recognized enough, I feel, and a lot of us may not know anyone, but if you do know them, you realize is people who have handicapped children. Those folks, I tell you, if you meet anyone who has a handicapped child where they're in a wheelchair or they have a disability or a mental disability where it's not, the traditional, where they're born with something and, cerebral palsy, etc., those kind of things where they're giving 24/7 care. Those parents that are given that kind of a care, they're not thanked enough. The dedication that they do. And if you meet those kind of folks, they're so humble. Always. I've never not met a parent who has a disabled children that are just the humblest people in the world all the time.
That is true. I've got two friends that definitely fall in that category, including the drummer of one of my bands.
I don't know what it is, but every time you could meet a stranger you've never met before, and they're the same as another person like that. I don't know, but they're just very, very, very great quality people. Anyways, back to Go Highway. So Go Highway is now offering this onboarding process. So we got notice this week that we're going to get an email starting probably next week, whereby all of our 30,000, 20,000+ carriers are going to have to migrate, essentially re-register from RMIS to Go Highway. But you think, oh yeah. So I'll be getting, because you guys are Jeff's company is signed up in our brokerage, so I'll get you guys to go through it to see how it goes, and I'll give you guys a test to see. But what I want to bring up about it with Go Highway, I think I've kind of shown you guys before, but with Go Highway, when you go in there and I punch in a carrier's MC, it tells you, it takes the details that are available in different places, but it puts it all into one spot. So I can see how many trailers a carrier has, their VIN numbers. I can see their power units. I can see the inspections. Yes, you can find it in different places, but it's just right there. It's all in one space. And it comes up with a grading system. Now, sometimes that grading system can be skewed, but the part that's really interesting that our office has identified is going to be a challenge. Let's say an owner operator buys a used truck from a carrier that might have been a bad carrier, or they shut down, and that VIN number was previously registered. That VIN number will because it's not just putting your MC number to see how long you've been around, it's actually analyzing the equipment under your MC. So if you have a VIN number from a previous carrier, that may pose problems. And our office saying it's not going to be the end of the world. They're going to have to do some manual overrides. It won't be so automated. But isn't that interesting that the new onboarding screening, so if you're a new carrier to our brokerage, and once we get Go Highway rolled out and working 100%, and some new carrier calls a load, and I say, okay, what's your MC number? And if they're like, yep, the MC is good, but they have a VIN number from a carrier that was a shoddy carrier, or they bought it from a business that shut down that was previously registered, it's going to show up. We're going to see that. So it's not just analyzing the MC, it's analyzing the VIN numbers.
Dang. that's because I know plenty of people that will leave a bad carrier because, I dispatched a guy that was with a bad carrier. And
he took his lease. Let's say he bought out that lease from that bad carrier. Thinks, okay, I'm only got 6 months left. I'm just going to pay what I got to pay instead of walking away from the lease. I'm so close. And he leaves, but that lease is connected to that bad carrier who has a bad rating. It will reflect. Not saying it's the end of the world. They made that clear. But I'm just saying, I just want to share. Very interesting that Go Highway's analyzing beyond just the, you go out there and buy an old MC to make it look like your business has been around a while, right? That's a trick in the trade. But they're also analyzing the equipment. So,
so what Go Highway did, let me understand this correctly, is they saw a need, and to be honest with you, DAT is struggling with this right now. They got onto it a little bit too late. Now we're getting emails. Now we're getting the whole, hey, be careful out there, kind of approach. Whereas Go Highway is like, you know what? This is a huge problem. Let's get in front of this. Let's sell a tool that will allow brokers to eliminate this, because obviously the government's not going to do it. Obviously the low boards aren't going to do it. And so Go Highway is like, no, we'll take care of this. Here's our service, and we're going to do it better than anybody else. And so they're taking advantage of an opportunity to sell you something that could potentially save you a lot of money and headache.
Well, we already have it. Like, I will pull up, as I'm looking here on the other screen, I'll pull up our TMS system and I'll pull up your carrier. And I want to see, I won't tell the world, but I'll just, unless it's perfect, then I'll tell it to the world. But we'll see how it shows what it says about your carrier. Because we already have, when I open up a carrier already, it gives us a rating, a grade. Like, it takes all the data and it's giving a grade. And oops, I'm looking down with my microphone blocking me here. Let's see if I can find it. I believe I found, yeah, there's Mr. Jeffrey's name. Risk assessment, risk management. See, I will share this with you. And it's not that there's anything wrong. Mm-hmm. It's just the way that they're doing it. And so, yeah, see, there's a score number and then there's a grade related to that. Okay. And I don't think that it takes into a lot of factors, right? So, and if I went to Go Highway on here, and the camera in the way there, sorry. As I look at this, I'll just go to Go Highway. And this Go Highway tool, in fact, it's helped me because it doesn't show if a carrier is available, but I can come in to Go Highway. I can punch in my origin city, a destination city, and the equipment type, and any other attributes. Like, they have a bunch of things, and I can narrow it down, and then it will show me all the carriers registered that run that lane, and then it will actually show like if their head office is in that area or not, and how close range they are, and it will help kind of. Remember, I forwarded you an email to that Jerry fellow. He was looking for that LTL reefer the other day. Mm-hmm. That Excel file was a report. He was just a random broker. This guy calls up and he's asking about reefer freight. And I thought, the way I get this random call and he's asking about reefer freight. And then I said, because I was thinking, okay, I've done that before where I've had trucking companies saying, look, I got this load. I can't broker it. I'm looking for a broker to help me, because I've helped carriers do that, right? Where they had a load that they couldn't do or something, or they had a situation. And I've even helped trucking companies, ship something for them to their location. And so, but then after I further again, because I asked questions, I found out that he was a broker. And I'm like, well, no, I mean, I could co-broker it, but it's just a hassle. Just go find your own truck. So I started asking some questions as a broker, like, are you doing this? I bet you. So obviously you're not getting any phone calls, because he says, well, yeah, the price is pretty low. I said, and I explained everything about the market, especially going into Florida. I said, you got 3 choices here. 1, take a loss, move the load, find a truck and just get the load moved and take that as a lesson, a learning lesson. 2, you find a truck in hand that might be a different date than what you're expecting for the delivery, but it will meet the price. And I said, if you call the customer saying that I got a truck as a partial, I can move it on, because he needed it delivered this Friday, and they wanted it picked up on the Wednesday. Because I'm looking at it, I'm like, the time right away when he says, yeah, I need it picked up on Wednesday, delivered on Friday. So the first thing I looked at was the miles. I said, well, even if you had an LTL load, there's not enough time on this load for a driver to get other freight or drop off freight along the way. And that was first, so I said, I'm not sure what happened here, but it seems like you guys kind of misplanned this. So I said, either you hand the load back to the customer, you have a truck in hand at the price you're looking for, and present that detail, because you can't call the customer saying, well, I can move it as an LTL next week. No, you need to have a truck in hand. Then you can tell the customer. With that. And then, or else you got to just tell that you suck up. You just say, okay, I screwed up. I'll pay the trucker what I need, move the load, and then going forward, I've learned my lesson, right? You pay the price. And he's like, man, no one's ever talked to me like this before. Everyone just shuts me down. And so he was pretty thankful. He even emailed me the other day and says, hey, thanks for your help. But we found the truck last minute. And I said, well, that's what I call the Good Samaritan situation, because that happens every once in a while. The person I originally got trained in this industry would say that from time to time. You have a load, and all of a sudden, a Good Samaritan comes along, and they cover the load for you at the price you're looking for, and they get it done. And that's the Good Samaritan scenarios out there. So, yeah, but yeah. So back to the Go Highway stuff here. So I'm just looking on Go Highway to see what it comes up. Sorry, I got my camera blocking myself, so I'm half. Yeah, there it is. So I'm looking on Go Highway here, how it shows up. Yeah, see, there's one weird thing that I can show you guys. It's just funny how they have this fail. Well, you have to dive into the details, right? As they say, it's in the details. But I can see all the equipment. I know how many number of trailers. I see the VIN numbers. I know that this detail is available in other places, but the fact that I can just look at it in one, like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like assessment, insights, lane preferences, equipment, survey, call notes, authority, insurance, safety, inspections, crashes, operations, contact information, and certifications, all in one screen for me. I just have to click through, and I can see everything about everything, right? I know unsafe driving. Under the safety side, I can see any unsafe stoppages, hours of compliance issues. That's been on a decline. Good for you guys.
Yay.
I can see any issues around controlled substances. You've got 0. Driver fitness, excellent, right? On the road performance. So there's nothing there. So the point is that there's tools out there. The AI is kicking in to tie this in, but it's still, even though this is all automated, if you remember, the first part I said was, if a carrier has a VIN number that was previously registered with a bad carrier, and it was, you bought it from someone, and that it's gonna reflect there. Not saying it's the end of the world, but our carrier setup team has to do manual overrides. So even though there's all this technology, it's still not going to. You still have to do some manual overrides to make things work.
So let's say we bring on a contractor that came from, say, ABC trucking company that was basically their authority was revoked because they're horrible people. And so, and I try to book a load with you. You look at that VIN number. Does it actually tell you this truck is from ABC?
That I don't know that, but I guess there's 2 scenarios. If that, because he's a contractor adding to you, so I suspect what will happen is, as that VIN number gets added to, Jeff's MC number, possibly your status or your ranking may change, or it may bring up a red alert. That I don't know, and that's a great question. I will ask my office that, saying, if you have an existing approved carrier and they add equipment, whether an owner operator or they purchase it as another company driver truck, that VIN number that was previously under a revoked MC, will it affect, and may affect their, like, say your rating, like your score that's on there, it may affect that piece of it potentially. Now, if it's a new carrier, like say a carrier that has an MC number but not registered with our brokerage, calls on a load, then I believe it will obviously red flag it, because when we punch in the MC number and they have this newly registered, VIN number that was under a previous bad carrier, that will reflect when we go search them as a new carrier. But the existing ones, I'm thinking that because it gets synced every few hours. So like anytime you could, like, right, because let's say you're like right now, I say, okay, yeah, you know what, your driver safety fitness is perfect. All of a sudden you get one driver had a bad moment and there's a bad inspection. It'll get, once that report is uploaded into the FMCSA, that will then be synced over to our system, and your rating may change. Right? That's what will happen, is your rating will be synced up and we'll see a change and what that change was. So
another question I have is, obviously each brokerage is going to have a threshold. Like, okay, if they've got one red flag, depending on what it is, we're good. But if they've got X amount of red flags in a certain area, then we can't use you. Have you guys figured out what your thresholds will be, or is that to each individual agent's discretion?
No, when it comes to the carrier, it's a broad scenario. There's a couple carriers in our system where I'm the only agent allowed to use that carrier.
Okay.
Because of the things that have happened in the past, but my office trusts what I do, and this carrier services Elaine. So there's a couple like that, or there's a couple I came across just recently where a carrier called me, or I called a carrier that I knew of, and I was checking I had a load up coming, and I thought of this carrier, and also I looked at their record and I saw this, and it says must call these two individuals at our office for approval. I thought that was interesting. So I emailed the office, and it came back saying that message was there, but you're allowed to use the carrier. It was something, I just did my due diligence to verify it. So, but yeah, so I think the general answer I'd give to you is, for 97% of the time, when a carrier does something bad, whether it's in one area or if it applies to our entire network of agents. However, unless there is like, say a couple agents had a bad scenario and they're like, say a different agent had a bad situation with a carrier, emails our office to explain what happened in the bad experience. But let's say I use that carrier and I have a history of where I've done 20 loads with this carrier, problem free. That, when I call up this carrier, they know me, and I tell them I have this load in this lane, they jump to the pump for me, and they get the job done consistently. That would have to go under management advisement. And then what they might do is keep them on a short leash, saying, we'll let it go for a couple loads, or you're going to have to call and get a manual override. Because like right now, I got some carriers like that where, because what I have a carrier, for example, like how this is to show how the system monitors it so well. We have a minimum $150,000 cargo requirement to be a carrier for our brokerage. But I have a carrier that does local work for me. They have straight trucks, but one of their trucks has only 50,000 cargo coverage, and the other trucks are okay. So I always have to get a manual override. And my carrier has to prove to me, because it's a Hino truck, that there's this one Hino truck they have that doesn't have as much cargo coverage, and they haven't bumped it yet. So I have to prove that they're not using that truck. My carrier has to say no. I have to get an email from the carrier saying, no, we're not using that truck. We're using this number. So they see which units have which, and then I forward that to my office, and then they give me the override, and I book the load. So it's all about the protection. And so the big picture of this is, when you're a broker, you need these tools to help protect you. And it takes to do this all by yourself. Like, that's why if you want to be your solo broker, open up your own brokerage, that's fair. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you're only going to work in a certain lane, but if you're going to be a broker and your goal is to add people to your team, adding agents, that's when the world is, you have to be nimble. You got to have some experts around you. You got to have all the tools necessary, because guaranteed, like our offices, we've been around for close to 45 years as a company. And even this week, the message was, well, I guess the message came out this week. So last week, we had 2 or 3 theft situations alone last week. So,
Wow.
and I will share the message with you, Steve, just so you can hear firsthand. But yeah, and the one that they're seeing it time and time again is the at Gmails, especially the at Yahoos. Any of those, so if you're a one carrier trucking, just if you currently have a Gmail account, just stop and get yourself a corporate name, right? Dispatch at, or your name at, whatever, and get yourself a website, simple website. Have a LinkedIn profile. Make it so if I look up your trucking company, I see it. It comes up as a location, even if your address is your home. Is because in addition to all these tools of Go Highways and DAT, and I've relied and I've had great success with Internet Truck Stops carrier performance rating.
Mm-hmm.
It's helped me numerous times over the years. Less so in the last couple of years, but I can tell you, for my first 10 years of being a freight brokerage, that CPR, carrier performance rating on truck stop, saved our butts numerous times. We trusted it. We relied. If we saw bad reportings, we just said no, right? Unless it was, there's the odd time. What I've done with some carriers, and I've talked to this before, if the odd situation comes up where, okay, there's a report about a carrier and I see the carrier rebuttal. So it's kind of like there's two sides of the story. And it kind of looks like it was a bit, I've given the benefit of the doubt where I call the carrier and I tell them, hey, I'm seeing this situation you guys had. Sometimes they'll say, yeah, we had a bad dispatcher. He's no longer here. And we've done this, and this to fix our situation. So I'll say, okay, I'll give you a shot. And if you do a good job, I will put a positive review for you, right? To help them. Because I don't think people their business should be shut down because of one bad situation. Right.
Yeah.
And then this is where I was going to tie right back to something that maybe you've kind of talked about it, but your members on your chat, and many other YouTube channels. The one thing that I was going to just remind you and thank you guys for, you can sleep at night knowing you're on the right side of things. And what I mean by that, you're not, as you hear the stories and the shysters, right? There's bad brokers, double brokering. There's carriers who pick up loads, hold them hostage from brokerages and shippers and force them to pay thousands of dollars to get it back and so forth. But you guys are able to know that you can lay your head down, wake up in the morning, and you're running your business ethically. And there's something to be said for that. And you can tell your kids about that I was always honest, right? If I messed up, I messed up. And if I, whatever, but I always held honesty and my integrity as my values of my business. Sure, I had my ups and downs, I had my frustrations and so forth. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're a trucking company, a convenience store, an album store, but running a business, like, I don't know, to me, lying is hard, right?
Yeah.
Trying to keep your story straight, right? Like, I don't know, lying is hard. That's I have to say that. Like, I can't lie. It's just too hard to keep the story straight. And so I think I just wanted to commend, the truckers that come on these lives and share their stories and stuff. But I think that, pat yourselves on your back. You guys are honest folks working hard for an honest living, and bring in what you bring to this trucking industry, because it's a very big, it's mammoth. It's so big.
Yeah, I thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. I agree with you that's why when someone wants to know about my dispatch services, you got some music going on there.
I do. I'll hold that back. Sorry about that.
That's all right. The first thing I ask these drivers is, what's your finances like? What's your can you afford this? And there's been a few people I've turned down because I knew that they can't spare that 5%. I'm not purposely going to just take my money while you slowly go out of business because you're not doing the math. I want to help people out. And because that's what helps me sleep at night. Does my roster look low sometimes because of that? Absolutely. But at the same time, I feel like I have a better aspect of helping people with their business versus hurting them. So that's and that helps me sleep at night, and that reputation gets around. People become trusting, and that's to me that's how it should work. Unfortunately, not everybody does that. Everybody just wants to take every penny every time, and they don't care what path of destruction it leaves. So,
and that's where at the end of the day, because I'm going to get off here shortly, so you can do your thing. But again, everything's about consistency, time, and consistency. I was at the gym the other day, and this guy was talking about, oh man, he was benching like 450 pounds or something, or squatting 450 pounds. I mean, 450 pounds, like that's like unheard of for most people. You know what his first words were? I've been working out for 20 years. So his point was, I didn't just come to the gym today doing 450 pounds of a deadlift, or I can't remember if it was deadlift or bench, but his first words was, I've been working out my entire life to build up to this. It hasn't worked. I don't get to this. Like, he's twice the size of a guy than I am. And he's, pretty built, and he can lift. I've seen this guy in the gym before, but isn't that amazing that the first words were, I've been doing this for 20 years to get to this stage. It's taking me this long, and it's going to probably take me another 5 years or more to get to where I want to be. Right. And I've seen him consistently time and time again. So it doesn't matter what aspect of your life, work, business, marriage, friendships, it's all effort and consistency. Because like just yesterday, I'm booking loads for a customer of mine. Again, not on load boards, but I have a load that I've done before. They have another one coming up. So what did I do? I went back to the load from 2022 to go into this location, and I billed the exact same rate. And so again, just look using your TMS system. And Mr. DIY.
Oh, look who joined the party.
What's the big milestone today? I just joined the party. I missed it.
Oh, you missed all of it, man. No, my wife and I on Sunday will be married 23 years. It's an anniversary.
Oh, sorry for her. That's unfortunate for her.
You funny guy, you. Hey man, that's a snazzy looking truck. That don't look like no X Schneider glider going on there.
Thanks for ruining the surprise. Thanks for wrecking my video that comes out in 32 minutes.
Oh, nobody watches. We've only got 44 people in here. You're fine.
Okay.
Well, right. Just call me a liar and then change the subject. Come on, man. Skills, man. Come on.
Yeah. Tune in 31 minutes now and find out what all this is behind me.
There you go. Yeah. So we'll build it up there. We'll build it up.
DIY's he's killing it as well. He's got things going on.
I'm killing it, or it's going to kill me. One of the two.
Whichever comes first, right?
The latter is probably more likely at this point.
No. So I don't have anything riveting else to say, but I just wanted to share that about the upcoming changes. So just be aware of, I was telling, you probably missed this part, DIY, but our company is going to be switching from RMIS to Go Highway to onboard carriers.
Good. I actually like Highway better, and I was actually recommending to a couple of friends of mine to switch to Highway because I kind of like how they're doing things. See, RMIS is kind of doing record keeping. They're not really following up on things and verifying. Highway seems to be going that step further and doing all the verifications. So
well, exactly, and that's what I was bringing up to him. Is the message I got is that basically they're not just going to analyze the MC number, but if you, like, for example, they're going to be analyzing the VIN numbers. So if you're a carrier trying to onboard with us and one of your trucks you purchased from someplace else and that VIN number was with a bad carrier, it's going to flag it, even though you're the new owner. Not saying we can't onboard you. We have to do some steps behind the scenes to override that, but it's just going to flag it. So it's not just tracking that MC number. It's going to be tracking VIN numbers and a bunch of other stuff. So it's giving grades. It's grading every carrier based on all these, analytics.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome.
All right. Yep. So that's it. So I don't have anything else riveting to say. Steve, your videos you've been doing has been fantastic. The cuts you've been making up, so much appreciated on those.
Oh, thank you. This one will get cut up, and then I've got a couple more in the chamber that I need to cut up and get out there. I think I hate watching myself, so it takes me a little bit to get through something. But with the stuff that you and Adam appear in, it's easy because I can just fast forward to when I see two people on the screen and then fine tune it from there. So well, thank you for your words, CDN. As always, I appreciate your friendship, your mentorship, and the wise words that you tell us. Thank you.
I'll share to you and DIY that video clip just so you can hear firsthand. I'll show that to you guys, and you can hear firsthand from someone with higher powers than me in my company. And it's always nice to hear it from a voice, someone who's in that power, just to hear why they're doing the things and the challenges. So it just reminds you guys of when you're running your business, to the due diligence that happens behind the scenes in this industry. So. And that's why but I just cannot emphasize enough. If you currently have a Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook email, find a website. There's different ones out there. It doesn't cost much, and just get a domain. Go to Google Workspace. You can do it for like $10 a month, or just find a web company. If you're not sure, just pay a little extra, get a web company to help you, so that you just want to build that presence. When you type in your carrier, I can find a link that brings it to your website. That when I go to LinkedIn, I can find your company website, and then it links to you. So if you're a one-person company, create a company website in LinkedIn, and then have your personal profile. So like if you were a driver for, maybe you worked at, you're a welder, and then you worked as a bus driver, then you worked as a carrier 1, carrier 2, carrier 3, all that history's there. And then the last one shows your current, that you're the president, CEO of this company or whatever, and it links to that other profile, which is your carrier profile, right? Create that presence so that in addition to the DATs, the Go Highways, the Internet Truck Stops, and the FMCSA lookups, I like to look up your name. And when I see that consistency, you've taken the time and the effort, that sets you apart. And then through that, if you hire a local web company and you tell them what you want, this is where when someone says, I'm looking for Dry Vans, Wisconsin, your name will eventually pop up in that algorithm. And that's how you start to find people like some broker. Like that's what be honest, peel the curtain back. If I'm struggling in a lane, I'm seeing carriers that are shoddy, I don't want to work with them, I send them start Googling to find. I know how to hunt, but it's amazing how well I can hunt and figure out, I can figure out carriers. Like I can pinpoint when I look at carriers, just by the tools I have and my years of experience. Again, so I'm not tooting my own horn. I just really leverage my experience and the knowledge I've gained from others. And I can narrow down, like when I'm looking for a carrier, I can usually figure out the right carrier to call for the right load at the right time. 90% of the time. So, but I better take this call. This person's like relentless calling me. So,
all right, CDN, thanks
for letting me on. Good to see you, DIY, and enjoy your anniversary weekend, Steve.
All right, thank you. All right, CDN, what say you, DIY? What's on your mind this morning?
I'm just backed into a dock here with my doors closed, waiting for the reefer to get down to temperature, and I'll open them up, get loaded, do some trucking. But I got the good deal of things going on. Trying to buy a few more trailers, right? It's hard to find the time to go look at everything, check everything out, but there's still seems to be some opportunities out there. I mean, as bad as I hear things are and see things are, there's still some opportunities out there. So it's what you make it. It ain't gonna come to you. You got to go out there and get it.
What do you think that the yellow and the UPS thing will bring us some opportunities?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, The UPS stuff is going to go to Amazon. A little bit will go to FedEx and some of the ancillary carriers. Amazon has been waiting for this for years. They've been positioning themselves, opening up all these DCs, right, in flow-through centers, creating all the warehouse space, just waiting for this opportunity. And they're ready for it. They're positioned for it. They have the people, they have the equipment, they have the warehousing, they have the system. If UPS goes on strike, they're going to be sorry. That business, that company will never be the same again. That once they go to Amazon, they're not coming back, because Amazon will do it at any price to get the business, even at a loss. That's how Amazon does things. And when people figure out they can do it, they're not going back to UPS and paying those prices. So these workers are foolish. They're damn fools if they go on strike. They'd be lucky to get their jobs back, and if they do, they're not going to last very long.
Yeah, and they'll be they'll have a blue trailer instead.
Yeah, so they have the distribution system. FedEx is going to get some. It's they're not going to get it all. But that's the sad fact of the matter. And Yellow, I mean, I could give a damn about them anymore. I think they need to go away. The way that we've bailed them out, how many times they've misspent the money. The workers always want more. They every 5 years they want to go on strike. Why are we propping up companies like that? The system can handle it somewhere else. Other LTL companies will pick up the slack, or Swift or somebody, if they've been looking to buy another LTL company, they'll pick them up just to get the infrastructure for LTL. Mm-hmm. Whatever. The Yellow thing is a non-issue. It's a failed business that we've just been, like Amtrak. How many years is the government paying all the bills for Amtrak? And we've been doing it for Yellow. So just go away. Stop being a burden on the U.S. taxpayer. Sorry if you work. I mean, I hate to see people lose their jobs, but you're going to get the job somewhere else. I mean, hey.
So my other question is, how are you seeing? You're obviously in the reefer world. So how are you seeing rates this week? What trends have you been seeing?
I haven't really been on the load board at all. It's been pretty, with the exception of one driver, pretty much everybody's been kind of off the load board for this week. But I mean, it's kind of steady. We saw it a little. I saw some upticks and some rates and stuff, some volume. This week, the volume seems to, the people I talked to, their load volumes seem to be down a little bit compared to the last 2 or 3 weeks where they were elevated. But I'll tell you this: something I clearly see is the people that are participating and going after contract freight and doing business with people with contract freight are doing much better right now than people that are only interested in the spot market freight, or in dealing with brokers that have no assets. If you're dealing with brokerages that have assets, like a trucking company, they seem to be doing much better and having much more success with that. So, and I always have. It's always been my preference to do business with a brokerage that is a trucking company or whatever. Less problems. So
I agree with that. Another question is, and then Lance Calhoun has brought this up. Trailers seem cheap at auction. So you've been purchasing equipment, as you mentioned earlier. So what have you seen the prices come down compared to like even a month or so ago?
I mean, trailers have come down some, not as much as trucks. Trailers need to come down more. To be honest with you, they're still too expensive, reefer trailers. But did I go all buggy on you?
Yeah, you're a little buggy. There you are. You're good now. Say it again.
Okay. Yeah, trailers haven't come down as much as trucks. They need to come down more. They're still too expensive. Gas fee.
Where are you seeing trucks at? Like, so if I want to get something that's got about 380,000 miles on it, what price point are those at? Have you noticed?
I mean, a Freightliner you could put with that kind of mileage at the bottom end. The cheapest one I saw was 370,000 miles for $49,000. probably
Oh, wow.
better than that. You really got to look
Wow.
at them because they could be pretty worse for the ball. But you can pick them up all day for mid-50s, 60,000. Obviously, like Peterbilt or Kenworth probably be more pricey. Volvo. A friend of mine just picked up 5 international LTs with 20 to 30,000 miles on them for $100,000.
Oh, wow. Dang.
Yeah.
So those deals are out
Yeah,
there, definitely.
Yeah,
Well,
I
right
mean,
on.
they all came from the same fleet that went under. Just bought them and they went under, so needed to sell them.
Yeah, one of the things I would caution people if you're searching for a truck right now and you find a good deal is that keep in mind that that truck was probably bought, the person was probably upside down and probably couldn't afford to maintain it. So you definitely have to look at the maintenance records and do an oil sample and and try to check everything out as much as you can and make sure you get the best warranty that you can possibly get. So, but
Yeah.
all right, DIY. Well, you missed a lot of insight from CDN. This has been kind of 3 videos in one. So so when should we expect to see you on your channel? Talk about what's going on and what's coming up and what you're doing.
Oh, dude. We're going all a little bit robot here. I'm probably in a bad spot here, so I'll just bounce out and I'll check the replay here.
All right.
Sorry
Well,
about that.
everybody,
Thank you.
it's all right. Okay. So we'll kick him out. So, anyways, I got to get off the speed, anyways. So, with that being said, thanks for watching, everybody. It's always nice to get CDN and DIY in here. Always good people. That's what I've talked about earlier today was hang around people that want to help you be better, and hang out with the people that will keep you grounded. That's what DIY and CDN always do. So, with that being said, thanks for watching, everyone. I'm sorry we didn't go over too many low board stuff, but at this point, well, I mean, no, I got to get off here. So I've got a limit. This chair sucks. I got to get a new chair. So with that being said, thanks for watching. With that being said, let me do this here real quick before I say the words. Strength for today, hope for tomorrow, aggression turns the screws. Right? And apparently I've locked up. Oh, there we go. Later.